What toxic family tradition did you break that cost you everything? For 3 generations, my family had followed one rule. Men had to join the military by age 18. It wasn't about serving the country. My grandfather believed it was the only way to turn boys into men. My older brother James enlisted as soon as he graduated high school. Within 6 months of deployment, we got the call that changed everything. He had stepped on an IED. The explosion took both his legs. When James came home, he wasn't the same person. He'd wake up screaming every night, drenched in sweat. During the day, he'd stare blankly at walls for hours. The VA prescribed him pills that turned him into a zombie. Mom would cry watching him struggle to get into his wheelchair, but my dad acted like nothing was wrong. He'd brag to his friends about his war hero son, while James sat silently at family dinners, barely touching his food. When I turned 17, Dad started leaving military recruitment pamphlets on my desk. He'd corner me after dinner to tell stories about his time in service, about how it made him who he was. One night, I found James in the garage, a bottle of whiskey in one hand and Dad's old service pistol in the other. I tackled him, wrestling the gun away. He broke down sobbing, saying he couldn't take the nightmares anymore. I held him until sunrise, listening as he finally talked about what he saw overseas. The next morning, I told Dad I wasn't enlisting. He exploded, calling me a coward, saying I was spitting on our family's legacy. Mom just stood there crying, begging us to stop fighting. James wheeled himself between us, telling Dad to back off. Dad shoved his wheelchair aside. I left that night with just a backpack, found a cheap apartment across town, and picked up work at a local garage. Started community college classes in engineering. Dad told everyone I was dead to him. Mom would secretly call sometimes, but she'd hang up if Dad walked in the room. James started coming by my place a few times a week. I helped him get into therapy, drove him to appointments. Slowly, he started improving. He even enrolled in online classes. We'd study together at my kitchen table, ordering cheap pizza and working late into the night. 2 years later, Dad had a heart attack. At the hospital, Mom begged me to come see him. When I walked into his room, he was hooked up to machines, looking small and pale. The first thing he said was that he was sorry, not for what he'd done to me, but for failing to make me a man. I told him real men don't send their sons to die. Real men protect their families. What he did to James wasn't strength, it was cruelty dressed up as tradition. Then I walked out, ignoring his shouts that I was no son of his. Dad recovered, but word spread through our extended family. Uncles and cousins cut contact. At family reunions, chairs would mysteriously disappear when I walked up. My grandfather removed me from his will, saying he wouldn't leave money to a coward. Last month, my teenage cousin Tommy showed up at my door in tears. His dad was pressuring him to enlist. He begged me to help him find another way. Now he's staying in my spare room, enrolled in trade school. His father disowned him too. James moved in next door. We had Thanksgiving together this year. Just us, Tommy, and a few friends who've become family. No one mentioned the military. No one pushed anyone to be a man. For the first time in years, I saw my brother truly laugh. My family calls me a traitor for breaking tradition. But watching Tommy thrive in his welding classes, seeing James finally sleep through the night, I know I made the right choice.